And we're talking with Jeanette Byrne at Aspenwood Counseling right now. We just kind of wanted to touch bases with you, Jeanette, and get some information as far as how to deal with the mental part of the COVID-19 thing that we're dealing with.
Right. That's a pretty big issue because this is something we've never faced before.
And so just kind of give us a quick rundown as to who you are and what you do for a living.
I am a licensed clinical professional counselor, and I am the only counselor at Aspenwood Counseling. I deal with adults, children, senior citizens, families, pretty much everybody who wants to walk through my front door.
Oh, very good. Okay, so since the COVID-19 outbreak has happened, have you been seeing any of your clients come in and talk about situations with this?
Almost all of them have concerns about it, especially the kids.
What is the most general concern that you've heard?
Mostly, I don't want to die.
Right. That's definitely a concern that everybody would think of. So, with these concerns, what of your clients, have there been any issues that they've run into?
Have had a few that have had family members that have traveled like up to Blaine County and come back and not realizing that they may have been exposed.
Right.
So then they've got, the quarantine of themselves for 14 days, and then it's just the waiting game, waiting to see if I get sick.
So what kind of advice are you giving them to help them cope with this added stress?
The first thing is to figure out what they can actually do to change the situation. Is there any actions they can take? The biggest problem with anxiety and depression is feeling like you're hopeless, like there's nothing you can do to remedy it.
Right.
So if I can have the kids, figure out how to make sure they wash their hands at certain times, limit how many times they go out, just give them something active to do, design games they can play with the family.
So if some of this stuff is leading to mental health issues such as depression and anxiety, is there some self-talk that you can do or some mental exercises to help you out with this?
One of the things I work with my families with is having a family meeting and not assuming that they know what everybody is worried about. Some of the kids are worried that when they go back to school, whenever that happens, that they're not going to have friends anymore.
Right.
Or they're worried that the animals will get sick, or that there's not enough peanut butter for their sandwiches. And parents assume that they're worried that they're going to get sick and die. And that's not always what the concern is.
So as a parent, how would you approach this issue with your child?
I've suggested to a lot of clients giving a set family worry time where the whole family comes together and says, okay, this is what we're worried about today. And put everything out on the table, even to the whole peanut butter thing, except for finances. Those need to be kept away from the kids. Other than that, put it all out on the table and problem solve.
Very good.
Sometimes just saying it helps.
Right. So I know that this is something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but, I know when times are like this, the taking of one's life becomes a heightened issue. How can somebody deal with that?
Pay attention, generate hope. The biggest reason I see in some of my clients that have been suicidal is they have no hope for the future. We have to give them something to do. I've got some clients who are working on making masks because it gives them something to do.
Right. And
gotta have hope.
And if somebody is having some issues with that, how can they go about seeking help for those situations?
Mental health facilities are considered essential services. Most of them are still here. The suicide hotline is, of course, still active. If a parent feels that a child is suicidal, call the doctor, take him to the ER. Get some attention. Don't just assume that it's going to go away.
Okay. And so we've been seeing a lot. I mean, social media is full of the COVID-19 stuff. What would be some advice you would give as far as how to, go about using social media at this time?
Limit access to it. It's the same with the news. If all you have going on is news stations giving the 24/7 coverage on the news, and then it's also on social media, got to limit the access to it because it's going to end up resulting in some PTSD symptoms.
Right. And so what are some positive things that families can do to be proactive about all this?
Talking about it is the best thing. Don't keep secrets. If somebody's got a cough, explain that it might just be an allergy, because everybody's hearing the symptoms, but nobody is actually understanding what it is.
Exactly. All right. And any words of wisdom that you would give as we wrap this up here today?
I would like to see families engage in some play together without screens. One of the things I do a lot with families is we play Jenga, but each of the boards has a question written on it.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you pull a board in the game, you have to answer the question.
Are there any specific questions or just random things?
Depending on the size of the family, you can partial out the board so that everybody can write questions. Some of the ones I use here are simple, like what's your favorite food? Some of the others are what are you afraid of? What's your best memory? So it's a variety.
A variety.
But it starts conversation.
And once again, if somebody needs to seek help, if they're having some depression, some anxiety, suicidal tendencies, how can they go about seeking help for these mental health issues?
Make a phone call, make an appointment. I don't know how many agencies are open. I know I am. I'm usually here 6 days a week. So make a phone call. Don't wait until things get better or things get worse.
And
we can do telehealth.
And if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
My number is 208-878-9178. And I'm here. The phone is always with me. It gets forwarded to a cell phone, so I always have it.
Perfect. Jeanette, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to help kind of get some of this squared away so that we can all be proactive about this situation and come out of this a little bit stronger for what we are.
I really appreciate you guys taking the time to inform the community about what's going on and give them some options.